Today, thank you. Now going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Supreme Court ruling 9-0 that Trump could run in all 50 states for presidential office, which is, I was actually shocked. Well, it's one of those things where, given the substance of the case, it should have been 9-0, but given how politicized the Supreme Court has become, especially some that consistently will only vote for their side, Sotomayor, I'm actually surprised there wasn't one or two that just, even though, facts be damned, they just said, no, he can't run. Now, one of the first people to repost on this was Laura Loomer, and we're going to read the document from the actual court, a little summary. So it might not be very bombastic or interesting, but nevertheless, for this first part, we'll read the actual official document. And it says, quote, cite as 601 U.S. 2024 per Kernaeum, Supreme Court therefore cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agreed with that result. Our colleagues writing separately further agree with many of the reasons this opinion provides for reaching it. See post part 1, joint opinion of Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson J.J. See also post part 1, opinion of Barrett J. So far as we can tell, they objectively only two are taking into account the distinctive way Section 3 works and the fact that the Section 5 vests in Congress the power to enforce it. These are not the only reasons that the states lack the power to enforce these particular constitutional provisions with respect to federal offices, but they are important ones, and it is the combination of all the reasons set forth in this opinion, not as some of our colleagues would have it, just one particular rationale that resolves this case. In our view, each of these reasons is necessary to provide a complete explanation for the judgment the court unanimously reaches. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court is reversed. The mandate shall issue forthwith. It is so ordered, and then it goes on for many, many pages in words that, unfortunately, not all, but many Americans probably struggle to comprehend because, I would argue, partially because of public schools and the lowering the bar with grammar and reading. But nevertheless, it is a huge deal. Or, let's be honest, as Trump might say, the deal is, this news is huge, the biggest, the greatest, the best, unquote, probably. And perhaps that is the most inaccurate portrayal or attempted at Trump's speech or accent. But nevertheless, hopefully it made you smile, even if it was just because it was such a bad attempt at how he speaks. But nevertheless, this, again, one of the first people to report on this was Laura Loomer. And she summarized it saying, quote, breaking, the U.S. Supreme Court just ruled that Donald Trump can run for president and be on the ballot in all 50 states for the 2024 presidential election, and that the insurrection clause doesn't disqualify him despite how loud the communists cry about January 6th. Unanimous vote 9-0 in favor of President Trump. All 9 members of the court agree with the result. Major L for the DOJ and every Soros-funded Secretary of State. Hashtag Trump 2024. Unquote. And as youth might say, it went viral to say the least. In the first couple hours, it got 750,000 views and 23,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the comments look like when, well, granted, Laura Loomer, historically speaking, she's a Trump supporter, so most of the people who follow her are probably Trump fans or people who are voting for him or following him. So probably mostly positive, but stop in the comments and find out. Let's see. Master P01 says, retweet if you agree. It's a picture of Trump, and it says, it always looks like he's losing right before he wins, getting 1.2 thousand likes. See, Common Sense Prevails says, quote, now he's as close as you can get. And it's a picture of Trump in a rearview mirror of a vehicle, and the disclaimer says, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, which is kind of a funny pun. So few people actually read that font, which ADHD is one of my favorite little novelty decals. Some sports enthusiast or car gear has will actually scrape off the original disclaimer, and they'll replace it with, cars cannot catch up, or cars in rearview mirrors are slower than they appear. Something funny to that effect. Scrolling down more and more. And Jericho says, quote, unanimous 9-0, and that's how ridiculous this whole thing was. Even the liberal justices said, no, it's not constitutional, unquote, getting 635 likes, which, yeah, I was suspicious that Ketanji Brown or perhaps Sotomayor, maybe they would have flipped their votes, but, I mean, this is nearly unprecedented for the Supreme Court to be so unified on a particular issue. I'm trying to remember when's the last time in our lifetime that's ever happened. It's so rare. Now, going back to the more and more comments, you have Sarah Smith saying, quote, cue the liberal tears in 3, 2, 1, unquote, getting 349 likes. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. Fiery Dream says, quote, make sure you highlight the fact that it will say, quote, unanimous bipartisan ruling, unquote, just like they would be doing nonstop, unquote, getting 281 likes. The Dark Kite says, quote, there needs to be criminal actions for activist judges, unquote, getting 125 likes, which, unfortunately, no. They will let most of it a slap on the wrist for political persecution. I don't see them getting any actual consequences. Town Square says, quote, the man only stacks up wins. He'll win the election in November. The pendulum is swinging back to the right, unquote, getting 120 likes. Kelly says, quote, this is the great American day. God bless America and President Trump, unquote, getting 173 likes. Let's see here. Jai Shardim 90 says, quote, President Trump will remain on the Colorado ballot. The SCOTUS has made their ruling official. Yet another swing and a miss from loony left. Trump 2024, unquote, getting 530 likes. Let's see here. News Nomad says, quote, even lawfare can't keep the man down, unquote, getting 82 likes. A witty fellow says, quote, SCOTUS exists for a reason. Glad they're still capable of their role. Kudos, unquote, getting 98 likes. Let's see. Crypto Papa says, respect the court's decision, unquote, getting 34 likes. Scrolling down. Oh, I was going to say, this is the Just a Gift I was talking about. Well, there's no sound, but it is, of course, of that, again, that gal who is, again, glasses, short hair, beanie, with the yellow highlighted vest, which F minus for fashion, of course, as well. But she's the one where she cried like a child when Trump won. Again, an alleged adult breaking down to their knees and crying because someone won an election. And that got 61 likes. Manda says, quote, what does this mean for that man, woman, judge in Illinois, getting 22 likes. Grumpy says, quote, liberals are going to go crazy over this ruling. 9-0 leaves a little doubt, unquote, getting 44 likes. Chris Ross simply has a picture of the Supreme Court and it says 9-0 bitches, unquote. They got 60 likes. So, again, it looks like actually, let's try to look up our favorite leftist really quick. Well, not favorite, I appreciate, let's see here. Luke. I like different perspectives, so life's not too much of an echo chamber. Let's see. Really? Is it not trending enough? Where is he? Let's try to see if there's one or two. Some contrarian. Because, again, there are going to be a lot of people who are pissed off about this as well. Let's see here. I don't know if this is true. But there's a picture of Rob Reiner, which is not photogenic, of course. And someone says, Rob Reiner says he'll set himself on fire when Trump wins the 24 election, unquote. I got 19,000 actual likes. Now, again, I don't know if that's a real quote, and I don't think that would ever actually happen. Kind of like everyone always says, I'm going to leave the country if X person or Y person wins the presidential election, which, again, no. I think California said they're going to secede if Trump won in 2016. They never did. Every person always says, so many people say that. I can't even think of more than one person who's ever actually moved away from the United States because of an election. I mean, I've seen some on local level in terms of a state passes a bad policy, they leave the state, just like California with the exodus they've had from there, similarly with Illinois and New York. But, I mean, no one's leaving the United States. I believe a wise man, I believe it was Ted Nugent once said, the whole world sucks, but the U.S. sucks the least. So it's one of those instances where I don't think anyone's going to actually move. But yeah, overall, if you look at these other posts, there are a lot of people who are venomously upset about this ruling. And in terms of, obviously, legal ground, it had no legal grounds to stand on, so I'm not too surprised about that it was ruled in favor of Trump. But it is quite concerning when so many Americans want to just take someone off the ballot, or while there's so many mechanisms trying to take that person off the ballot when they actually didn't do anything. Now, again, this doesn't take away from the fact that Trump has other lawsuits that are going to take his time, his resources, and also his physical ability to campaign around the U.S. I mean, that's still a big hurdle he's going to have to conquer, and that time clock is ticking as well. But again, this is a very big victory from the Trump campaign, And it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. Are you surprised that this was a favorable ruling for Trump? And then are you surprised it was 9-0? I thought maybe it'd be 8-1 or maybe 7-2. But because again, there's always the holdouts. But I was pretty astonished. Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It was a great way to give me some additional feedback so I can know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.